Hi, I'm Dr. Kim Rushner. I'm a pediatric surgeon at Sacred Heart Medical Center at River Bend here in Eugene, Springfield. And I'm here to talk to you today about a really common household object that can be deadly to children. Button batteries or disc batteries. Disc batteries are everywhere in your home. They're in your car keys, they're in your remote controls for your audiovisual equipment, they're in your kids' toys. They're maybe even in partially opened packages that aren't that secure in a drawer that your kid can reach into. So what's the problem with a button battery? Well, they're shiny and small. And if you're 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 or 5 years old, shiny small things look delicious. So when you take a kid who has a shiny thing that they put in their mouth, that's a disc battery, the problem is that their saliva starts an electrical current. This also happens if it's shoved up the nose. Now if you imagine that when a kid swallows, the food travels from their mouth, down their esophagus and into their stomach. A child's esophagus is not that different a size from a hot dog. This is not going to get through a hot dog very easily. It's about the same width, so they tend to get stuck. 2,800 children a year at least are treated in the United States every year for having swallowed one of these, and many die. So what happens when a kid swallows a button battery? So I'm using the example of hot dogs to show you what happens to the esophagus. So let's take this hot dog. This button battery's been in about an hour already. See, there's bubbling. That's tissue being eaten away by the electrical current being generated from this battery, and you can see little bits of bubbling going on there. That's terrible. Imagine if that's your kid's esophagus. If that burn keeps going to the front of the esophagus or the back of the esophagus or the side, it's going to keep eating through the esophagus into the heart, the trachea, or other large blood vessels, and that's how kids die. Look at the burn in just an hour. The tissue is black. The tissue underneath it's dead as well. If your child swallows something small and shiny and you're not sure of what it was, they need to go to an emergency room immediately. Not the doctor's office, not an urgent care, but someplace where there are physicians who are able to either remove it or get your child transferred to someone who can. When we have children who have swallowed a button battery, they immediately get an x-ray. And that x-ray tells us where it is, and where it is helps us figure out what to do. If the battery is already passed through the GI tract, once it's in the stomach, it's probably not going to burn through. But if it's stuck from the mouth to the bottom of the esophagus, your child needs an emergency procedure, quite possibly to remove it before damage can go all the way through to the heart or other things in the chest. So remember, if your child swallows something shiny, you don't know what it is, it could be a battery and it could kill them in as little as 2 hours. Please don't let that be any member of our community. Please don't let it be your child. Don't let it be your friend's kid who's coming over for a visit. Prevent kids from getting harmed and dying from batteries by keeping them out of reach. And if you think there's a chance your child or someone's child swallowed them, get them to an emergency room right away and say, I'm worried about a button battery. That will get your medical care team going. Good luck.